Are you facing a lot of barriers or struggles with the short stack product?
No barriers.
None at all.
I'll jump in on this. As emerging developers, as female developers, as developers who didn't inherit a development business or a portfolio of buildings from our parents, I'll just start from that standpoint. One of the major barriers is a construction loan guarantee. The whole development industry has been set up such that those who already own property and can borrow against a balance sheet or can borrow against wealth that their family has generated have access to better financing and construction debt to build more housing or build more buildings of any sort. And that's kind of like the backbone of the real estate development world. So when you're emerging into the field and when we're trying to build more smaller scale buildings and access, financing tools that support this kind of AMI levels that we're trying to build, we need favorable financing to build workforce affordable missing middle housing. And there is this barrier in terms of a construction loan guarantee that we're working through with an investment partner. But I think it's worth just calling that out as a systemic barrier to emerging development.
It certainly becomes a line item in the budget that otherwise wouldn't be there. And when we're developing on such razor thin margins to begin with, all of those things really matter. And acknowledging that, even though we're emerging, we still have it a lot easier than many of our development counterparts, particularly our BIPOC counterparts who are working in this field. And so it's a challenge and one that we're, slowly overcoming.
I would add one more barrier to developing missing middle housing is that that definition of affordable housing. And right now we're in an extreme housing shortage. It's called a crisis in Oregon. And we need housing across the continuum of affordability. And there are a lot of systems set up and financing tools set up to develop regulated affordable housing that's affordable at 60% AMI or below. There's a huge need for that level of housing. Don't get me wrong at all, a huge, enormous need. But when we're talking about housing that is between 60% and market, which is that kind of missing middle workforce affordable, there really aren't a lot of tools from a public financing or incentive standpoint. So one barrier is just expanding the definition of affordability, considering that 50% of renters in Portland are cost burdened, really across those income spectrums.